If you're living your whole life trying to be somebody else, you're gonna fail. You will fail. Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, though, my name is Amy. I am a witch. I talk about witchcraft and spirituality and whatever I feel like talking about at the time. And then I make videos about it, and then you sit here and listen to me talk. So today we're going to talk about why some people seem to be better at witchcraft than others, why some people seem to be better at certain types of magic than others. So if that's interesting to you, then we'll get right into it. So the thing with witchcraft is that it's like a toolbox, and you have to become skilled with all the tools that are in the toolbox. That requires like learning what the tool is, and then how to use it, and then practicing with it so you get better at using it every time. You do that with one tool and then you move on to the next tool. So like say you're great at using a hammer and now you gotta move on to like a screwdriver. You learn what that does and what it's for and how to use it, and then you practice using it until you're really good with the screwdriver. So magic is like that. You kind of pick a topic to start with, the thing that you're drawn to the most, like whatever you think is the most shiny or interesting, or the thing that like inspired you to become a witch or to try witchcraft, and then you work on that thing. And like you kind of gotta expect greatness, I guess. Like, you guys know that expression, like aim for the moon because then at least you'll land among the stars or whatever. I hate it. I hate that expression. I hate it if you're aiming for something and expecting to fail, and like expecting to not make it, and expecting to not be able to like reach your target. Then like what is gonna motivate you to even try or practice? What you should do is aim for the moon, and if you don't reach it, like refuel and aim for the moon again, and keep doing that until you get there. Keep doing that until you reach your goal. So if you want to start with elemental magic, for example, this is just something we talk about a lot here, but you don't have to start with that. Start with anything, honestly. And you decide that you want to move on to something else after a little while, that's totally fine too. You can have as many tools in your toolbox as you want, and you don't have to master one before you move on to the next. What I want to encourage you guys to understand is that when you pick up a tool and you don't know what it is or how to use it or where it came from or anything, and then you try to use it, it isn't necessarily going to succeed. If you've never used a screwdriver before and then you take it and try to use it to hammer a nail in or something, like that's not gonna work. It isn't a thing. I mean, maybe if you're like really ingenious about it, like really pound that thing in. The point is that everybody has to practice. Okay, now that I've said that, you're probably thinking,
we were just talking about people who are better at things than other people, and there's all these people in the comments who are trying things and it's working the first time, so what about them? You're a big fat liar, Amy.
I promise I'm getting to it. I believe in reincarnation, past life regression, and like genetic, like bloodlines, spiritual bloodlines. So basically what that means is you can be born predisposed to being gifted in one way or another. Whatever you believe, if you believe that you were created, or if you believe that in reincarnation, or if you believe you've only got the one life to live or whatever, you can't deny that some people are gifted in some ways and some people are not in others. I do believe that anybody can practice witchcraft. I do believe that, and I believe that all people probably do in some way without realizing it, or without like nurturing it, or devoting their lives to studying it or anything, because they're not nerds about it. So I believe that there are reasons why I am gifted as a healer and as a psychic, and those reasons are probably many, they're probably varied. This is just an example, but like I have healers and psychics in my family on both sides, and they were not pagan, and they did not teach me how to use my gifts, but I know that they had them, and I experienced them experiencing them. So they're there, they exist. So there's an element of that has passed through my like physical, like bloodline. But I also believe in reincarnation, and I have had past lives. I have had a few past lives, and in those past lives, the ones that I have visited, the ones that I've made a point of like remembering and like done like past life regression into, I had very similar skill sets to the ones that I have now, or to things that I am interested in but have not yet studied. So things that I'm drawn to but haven't yet been able to study. A lot of those things are things that I have brought with me from past lives into this life. And sometimes it might seem weird, the thing that you're drawn to. It might seem like, especially if it's like a cultural practice and you're like, I don't belong to that culture, like I don't understand. I'm not making a case for cultural appropriation. You can appreciate without appropriating. Always cite your sources and always give credit where credit is due, and never claim that you've come up with something on your own when you've learned it from somewhere else. Okay? Okay. If you belonged to a different culture in a past life, which, I mean, we all would have, because 10 years ago our culture was different. So even if you were like in the same place and looked the same, which is not really a thing usually, then you would have knowledge and information and skill and giftings that come from being raised in that particular tradition. So you might be drawn to that tradition now in your present life, and you might find that not only are you drawn to it, you're interested in it, but you might have an affinity for it. You might be really good at it. Some people are going to be able to do things on the first try, and I don't like saying this. I don't like telling people this. I really want to emphasize that practice is so important. Please, 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 if you take anything away from this, just don't give up. Like, if it's something that you care about, don't give up. If you don't care about it, you probably didn't even make it this far into the video, and that's fine. I want the people who really want to be able to learn, like, I really want those people to be able to learn. I want you to have the tools that you need. So if you try something and it works the first time, that's amazing. Keep at it. Keep practicing. See what else you can do. If you try something and it doesn't work the first 30 times, keep at it. Keep trying. If you're drawn to something and you want to learn that thing, you put the effort in and you learn that thing. Learn it. Do it. Put the work in. Do your homework. It's going to be so worth it. If you try something and it doesn't seem to work, and then you try something else, and then you try something else, and then you try something else, I don't think you can cheat the system. I don't think that there's a way to just cycle through all of the practices until you find the one that you're gifted at. I have ADHD, so there is definitely a level of like distractibility and many irons in the fire that like happens with me. I will start studying something and realize I'm really not that into it, or that like I don't have the time to put into it or something like that, and I'll put it aside and I'll make priorities. There are some things that I always go back to and that I continue to learn about. There's some things that I keep as reference material and don't really dive into those practices. We're not all going to be good at everything, and we're not all going to be interested in everything. It's not possible for any one person to know or practice or be good at or master everything. That's not possible. Even doctors and scientists, people who do important work that study their whole lives, still have to pick a specialty. They have to pick a concentration. I'm not telling you that what you pick is the last thing that you ever gotta use, or that you can never try anything else and you can't add anything else to your toolbox. That's not what I'm saying. It doesn't matter why you're doing magic. If you care about it, keep trying, put the work in. So one of the reasons why I think that some people are going to be better at some things than other people is because they already have put the work in a past life. They're not cheating. It might seem like they're skipping the line, but they're not. And I guarantee that there are other things that you're gifted in or that you have already put the work into in a past life that they haven't. So try not to compare yourself to other people. I know it's hard, but I think it's a system of humanity to compare ourselves to other people and to compare our failures and our triumphs and our processes. And we either want to do it the same way somebody else did and replicate their success, or we want to do it better or different. And that's fine. If it inspires you, then that's okay. But if you live your whole life in competition with other people or comparing yourself to other people, you're never going to measure up, and you're never going to achieve fulfillment in what you're doing, because you'll be focused on somebody else, what somebody else is doing. If you're living your whole life trying to be somebody else, you're gonna fail. You will fail. But if you live your life trying to be the best you that you can be, you will succeed, and you're the only one who can. Because if somebody else tries to be you, they will also fail. So the other reason that I think that, just in case I didn't touch on this earlier, the other reason that I think that a lot of times people are good at things when it doesn't seem like they've put in like the work to learn, like talent, okay? Like there's a difference between talent and skill, right? So talent is something that you have, and skill is something that you nurture and grow. So skill comes from practice and repetition. If you're talking about, like, say you're talking about singers, okay? So some people are naturally gifted singers. Some people sound great all on their own. In theory, those people still need to get some training and things in order to understand how music works, understand how to take care of their voice and like not break their throats and things like that. But you know, they might sound good right out the gate, or at least mostly, right? Okay, there are lots of people who are not naturally gifted singers, but any of them can learn to sing. You go through the same process. You learn the parts of music. You learn to listen to it. You learn how to replicate the sounds. You learn what those sounds are called, and then you can continue building your repertoire, stretching your throat, practicing, taking care of yourself, and growing your range. And that is skill. That's practice. That's an education at work. So magic is like that. Even if somebody's good at something right away, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to know everything about it. It doesn't mean that they're going to have the control that they need. And it doesn't necessarily mean that like everything they do, like they're still going to fail at something. Humans fail. We do that. We make mistakes, and then we learn from them, and then we try not to make them again, and we keep learning. I think for the sake of being a new witch, a learning witch, and for the sake of your craft and the quality of it, I hope you are not wildly successful the first time. I'm sorry if that sounds bitchy, but I mean it. Bottom of my heart, I mean it, because a lot of times gifts are squandered, and a lot of times people think that if they're talented, then they don't have to put the work in. They can get arrogant, and it is very, very easy for them to ruin themselves, to not learn from their mistakes, to not learn from other people's wisdom. They think that they don't have to try or learn or practice, and it doesn't go well for them. But if you do have to put some effort in the beginning, even if you get really good at it later, whatever it is, I think personally it helps you build a foundation. It helps you build a appreciation for work and for how far you've come, your full potential and your full power. That should be the goal, right? The goal should be to be able to achieve whatever you want to achieve. Your goal, whatever it is one that you want to succeed at, right? The two main reasons why I think some people are more gifted in some things than other people are is previous practice in past life and because of genetic inheritance. Do you practice past life regression? Do you have a skill from a past life that you've brought into this one that you love and that you use and that you're good at, or whatever that you want to tell us about? If so, leave it in the comments below. Consider supporting me on Patreon. Thank you for watching and for supporting me. I hope you guys have a beautiful day and don't melt in the heat. Bye.